A lot of Bulls fans are very high on Modest Buzelis based off his rookie year. The question that I want to answer today is, what are the realistic expectations for Modest Buzelis in year two? We're talking about all that plus more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. I'm Hayes, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. In today's episode, we're going to continue over-under, looking at a specific stat from Modest Buzelis, and if he can go over or under that stat in this upcoming year. We're also going to talk about Nikola Vucevic's retirement from international basketball. And are the Windy City Bulls must-watch this season? We're going to get to all that today. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is closer than you think, and right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets. Download the FanDuel.com, download the FanDuel app at FanDuel.com to get started. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into it today. Modest Buzelis, we've been doing our over-under game for the Chicago Bulls. We've been picking one stat for each Chicago Bulls player. Then we talk about if that player can go over or under that stat in the upcoming 2025-26 season. It's so crazy that we're legitimately talking about it being 2026 at some point during the season. I am getting old, y'all. Very, very old. But with that said, despite me looking at my mortality, let's take a look at Modest Buzelis. So the stat that I wanted to go, like, there's a lot of different ways that I could go with Modest. It's easy to go points per game, but for this over-under, because we wanted to be kind of a more in-depth conversation, I don't want to just do points per game. I could have did rebounds for Modest Buzelis, who could very well be a much better rebounder this upcoming year. I could go blocks, which Modest Buzelis led the Chicago Bulls in blocks. And looking at Buzelis' numbers as a starter specifically last year, as a starter, he started 31 games for the Bulls. He averaged 26 minutes. He averaged 13 points, 4.5 rebounds, 1.1 blocks, 2 assists per game, and almost a steal per game as well. But the number that I think is a good one to talk about over or under, and the reasons why we'll get into, is shots per game. As a starter last year, Modest Buzelis averaged 10.2 shots per game. Now, that's a really decent number, especially when you look at he basically came in and assumed P. Will's role. The Bulls didn't do a lot differently for Modest Buzelis. He just, his aggressiveness, naturally going after rebounds more, being more active and getting to the rim, it naturally got him basically an additional shot and a half per game than what P. Will got. So, but with Modest and wanting to see him grow as a player, wanting to see him make that next step, is that I think that's a really good number to talk about the over or under. Does he have over or under 10 shots per game next season? And let's just round it up to 11. 10.2, it's closer to 10, but let's round it up for 11. And I think that's a really good place to be at with Modest and to have this conversation, because what would that mean? If Modest goes over 10 shots per game, it not only means that the Bulls are putting more on him, it may also mean that he stepped up as far as being more aggressive scoring-wise, maybe trying to create his own shot. But it also could mean that the Bulls are just prioritizing his development a little bit more and seeing what he can be as more of a actual part of your game plan and offense, to where you're running some plays for him. So I in this one, over under, me and Pat have kind of gone back and forth on this a lot of the season. Exactly what is this going to look like for Modest Buzelis? And to me, I think a good number for Modest, I'm going to go over the 11 shots per game. I'm actually going to go at 13 shots per game. I think 13 shots per game. Technology. I think 13 shots per game is a really good place for Modest Buzelis to be at next year. It means that he's not necessarily, it's not like the Bulls are putting a whole lot more on him. They're not making it some crazy jump from 10 shots to 15, 16 shots per game. But it does mean that he's having a natural evolution and progress for the Chicago Bulls. Now, I know, and I get it, that a lot of Bulls fans want Modest to be exactly who they see Modest being in a couple years. They want to see him be that right now. They want to see him be the guy that's going to come in, that's going to average 18 points per game. And I do think it's going to be more of a natural progression for Modest in those areas. I don't think the Bulls are going to all of a sudden go from Modest being where he was last year to being number 2 in the on the shot list. I don't think he's going to be the second most prioritized offensive player for the Bulls. I think this is going to be a year where he's definitely asked to do more. and thus it could lead to being a little bit rougher in some areas for him because he's going to be asked to do more. But I don't think you're going to see the crazy leap from Modest as far as responsibility on the offensive side. And part of that is because I do think defensively he's going to make a step up next season. I do think he's going to be a better rebounder this year. And I think those things, as well, he's going to do a little bit more facilitating at times this season as well. I think you're going to see the Bulls try to round out Modest's overall game, and thus scoring isn't necessarily going to be the only focal point for Modest Buzelis next year, nor do I think it should. And because of that, I don't think you're going to see the crazy responsibility offensively just jump out the stat sheet at you. I don't think you're going to see that, but I do think you're going to see Modest take a necessary step up, and that's a good place for him to be in. Modest was, they recently talked about Modest Buzelis on Kevin O'Connor's podcast with Trey Kirby as well. They talked about Modest. They talked about Noah Essengay also, which we'll talk about a little bit on tomorrow's episode with Pat. But they talked about Modest being a player that has proven at minimum that they feel like he's going to be a good player. Now, the question is that is he going to be somebody that you can build around, or is he going to be just a role player or above role player? And I think that's a fair thing. As much as, I would love to be able to talk about, I have talked about Modest and what he could end up becoming, right? And it's all potential based, but I don't think we've seen enough. If we're being fair, if we're being honest, I don't think that we've seen enough yet to say that Modest can be a superstar. I don't personally subscribe to that. He has a lot that he needs to do, creating his own shot more, being a more efficient shooter as well. These are things that Modest has to do, and I think those things can come from him. The one thing that I don't want to happen is kind of what happened in Io's second year, right? Io had a bit of a step back in second year because he was asked to do a lot more. He was asked to all of a sudden make this leap into being this, being the starting point guard, which, as we found out, wasn't necessarily the best role for him, right? We found that out. And so because of that, I don't want to see him take, I don't want to see Bulls fans all of a sudden look at Modest Buzelis and be disappointed if he's not giving you some crazy production per game, if he doesn't make some crazy leap. There could be some hurdles. I hope that it's not a sophomore slump, but I definitely think there's going to be sophomore hurdles for Modest because he's going to be asked to do so much more as a member of the Chicago Bulls next season. I do see him having more opportunities in the half court. I do see him having some time to be the stagger guy because the Bulls do have now an actual point guard that's going to be the backup point guard in Trey Jones. I do think that we're going to see Modest do some staggered minutes with the rest of that starting lineup, and I think those are going to be things that he's going to do, and therefore that playmaking can grow. It's more about the overall development for Modest this season than him to make some huge leap scoring-wise, at least for me. What's going on, Pat?
There's no text message on we started early.
I got to start at 9.
No, you ain't text me nothing today.
I didn't press send. My bad, bro.
You son of a... I'm like, what the heck? I literally just pulled up YouTube. Was like, all right, let's see what we got going on here. Let's see what we're talking about. Wait a minute.
My fault, bro. I was doing that, and then I had to do the Cam Thomas breaking news real quick, and I didn't press send. My bad, Brody. But that's how versatile Pat is. He can hop right in, unprepared, and just be ready to go. What's going on, Pat?
Modest gonna dominate Bulls championship.
So the over/under stat that I picked from Modest Buzelis was shots per game. Last year as a starter, 10.2 shots per game. So I put the number at 11. Over under 11 shots per game for Modest next season, Pat.
I feel over. I think that they're going to push Modest to try and be maybe more than he's ready to be. We'll see what ends up happening this season. But I feel like they are going to give Modest the shots to prove, okay, we got an opportunity to have a young star on this team. What is he? Yeah. And what can he be? I think that the hope is that you are able to get, by giving him more shots, because what you gave him last season, every time you gave him a little bit more,
yeah,
he did more with it.
Yeah.
He never backpedaled. He never was like, oh, dang it. Like, you put more on my plate. I don't know how to eat all of this. Like, he was able to go out there and continue to get better the more responsibility you gave him. And so I don't think there's going to be a pullback. Do I think that, for game one, he's going to start out with 20 shots? No, I don't. But I think by the time you get to the end of the season and everything is averaged out, I think you'll see him land somewhere around probably 14 shots a game to maybe more, depending on how well he's playing. But just because the more that I believe they'll give him, I think the more he'll do with it. And that means you get more responsibility throughout the season.
Now, I put it at 13, so we're not that far off. One of the reasons I didn't go higher than 13, Pat, and let me know how you think about this, is that I think that they're going to try to grow Modest more than just shooting. I do think they're going to give him some opportunities to play make, to do a little passing, to do some point forward things. I think we saw that in a couple of games towards the end of the season where some starters sat. We saw Modest get to do more point forward things. And I think there's a chance that Modest could get opportunity. I'm not saying he'll be the permanent stagger guy, but he could be that guy in the starting lineup that staggers some with the bench unit because you have Trey Jones, because you have Io, and where he could have some opportunity to do some more half-court playmaking. Do you think that that's an opportunity for him too?
Could be. I mean, it makes him a much more dangerous player. I think that would be something that would be interesting to see. We haven't seen a ton of it at the NBA level for him. But I mean, listen, if you can have a 6'10" guy that's facilitating the basketball, it just opens everything else up for you. Yeah. Right now you got a big playing out, and you've got opportunities to have a Noah Essengay in the game along with a Nikola Vucevic possibly, and you can have this big man lineup. That's how a lot of these bigs lineups work. And I think even right when you look at Modest's game, not to say he is a Kevin Durant, but it is that ilk of like he's a 6'10" guy. Like I think people forget he's 6'10". He's a 6'10" guy that can dribble. Yeah. And like can dribble really well. So like having the handle, having the ability to get to the cup on his own, you can't sit there and just play up on him. The most important thing is going to be if he can get that 3-point percentage up consistently at around that 36 to 37% mark. I know he averaged out there, but there was a lot of games in a row where it was a lot. It was out of coast.
There were some games where he was like 3 for 5. Another game where he was like 1 for 6.
Remember, didn't he go like 7 for 8 one game last year, bro? Like that was a crazy game.
Was that
for
Dalen?
For him?
Did Modest do that too? I know Dalen had that crazy game where he was like 6 for 8 from 3-point range. But
I got to look through the game logs from
probably
last season.
I mean, Modest
there was a game last
season
where it was like, okay, like maybe he just can shoot all of a sudden, and we missed something. Then he did end up coming back down to earth. But I think the big thing for me with that, I would love to see it. It would be interesting to see what kind of lineup you're running with that, but I don't think it wouldn't benefit the Bulls in that situation.
That's a fact. Well, we're going to get into the next topic with Nikola Vucevic announcing his retirement from international basketball. But first, we got to get to a message from FanDuel. The NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to football Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Pat. So Nikola Vucevic, man, announces retirement from international basketball. He goes out with a major game against Great Britain, even though they lose that game. Vooch finishes Eurobasket play with averages of 20 points per game, 11 rebounds per game, 4.4 assists, 1 block per game. Vooch balled out overseas. How do you feel about Vooch retiring from international basketball?
I'm actually shocked by it because international players play forever. Luis Scola just retired like last year.
Yeah.
Luis Scola has not played in an NBA game. I want to say since like 2011.
That sounds about right.
Bro, like I'm not like must play forever in international ball, which is hilarious because it truly shows like the difference between like being an NBA player and being the rest of the world. Like when you're one of the top players in the world, it is hilarious to see like how long you can play in international ball. But I think that it's an interesting dynamic on the conversation of what his future is with basketball. And what I mean by that is, there's a lot of guys that don't leave the game. Feels like Vooch wants to be one of those guys who, when I'm done, I'm done.
Oh, sure.
I've played forever. I've done this my entire life. When I get done with this, I'm going to go to the next chapter of my life. And basketball is going to be a great memory for me, but it's going to be something that I leave back there. And when we're done with this in the NBA, I am going to be officially done. So that's interesting to see. A lot of people can't let go in that manner. It's usually why they continue to play international ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think also too is because international ball is like, I mean, like they have these tournaments and stuff like that. Of course, when it's Olympics and all that, you play a little bit more. But like, I mean, in an off season or a season of international ball, you're playing maybe 10, 12 games, maybe. So like it's easier to kind of get up for 10 or 12 rather than the grueling 82 game season that is the NBA season. That's why you also don't see a lot of injuries typically in international basketball that you see, because they're not really playing a lot of games and they get days off, those type of things. So, it is what it is there. Let me ask you this though, Pat. I know international Eurobasket play is a lot different than NBA play. Yep. And seeing Vooch play the way that he played, do you think Vooch is coming into the season with anything to prove? Do you think it's going to be kind of just another ho-hum season for Vooch? This is a contract year for Vooch. Or do you think we see anything different from Vooch this season? Or is he going to be his typical, which I don't mean that negatively, his typical 18 and 11 and just be Vooch?
I would look at Vooch as the same guy. I don't think he has to change anything. I don't think he has to prove anything. I think he is who he is. And in doing that, I think he'll be back here next season. I think that he'll be back here to finish out his career. And whether that's a 2-year deal, a 3-year deal. Like, we keep saying this, but it really is true. Like, when I watch Vooch's game, like, Vooch is what, 34?
Yeah, something like that.
Vooch could do this till 40.
Bro, Vooch was more athletic and a little bit more limber like his first maybe 4-ish years in the league. But after about 27, Vooch has been the same guy since then.
When he put on the weight, when he got to about, and I think he's actually lost weight, but what is he probably, because Vooch came in, remember, Vooch came in skinny. It's why we were like, Marko Simonovic could turn into Nikola Vucevic. Exactly. Vooch is 260 pounds. Vooch probably came into the league 220.
Yeah.
Like, he had a little bit of up, had a little, had a little hezzy game. I mean, it was like, wait a minute, who's this dude? And then the Sixers traded him, but it's, at 260, at how his game has been, he could play this way till he's 40 if he wanted to. So when I look at his game, I'm like, hey, he's going to re-sign here for probably a 2-year deal. Then we're going to get to the end of those 2 years. We're going to be like, maybe it's down to 16 and 10. You're going to be like, I'd take 2 more years.
Exactly. Yeah,
the goal is to find a center better than Vooch. That's what you got to do here.
And me and you have both agreed on, like, I do think they're going to be open to listen to deals. They may even actively shop him at the trade deadline. But if they don't find a deal that they like, he's going to get a contract. He's going to be like Lonzo Ball. I'm not saying the monetary value is going to be the same, but I guarantee he's probably going to be a similar situation to Lonzo. They don't find a deal for him. They end up locking him in. He ends up staying here, whether it's a 2-year deal, and then, they can revisit moving him at that point in the offseason. And if not, he's going to be here until the Bulls have an actual starting caliber replacement, either in the wings or somebody that they feel like is a starting caliber center. Vooch is going to stay here. And even then, he still may stay here after. Like, the Bulls very well could re-sign Nikola Vucevic, let Zach Collins, let Jalen Smith walk, and do like, all right, we need some more defense. Mark Williams, here you go. Here you go in the offseason. We're going to give you a deal. Like, they could very well do that until they have a more young guy that they feel like is the center of the future. So I think Vooch is going to be here. I'll be more willing to bet that he's here than not in the future. And I don't like as many people try to make that a bad thing. I'm telling you, it's not a horrible thing at all. It's just not.
You got to like it for the off the court things as well, right? And I'm a firm believer. The teams that sit there and there's nothing but young guys usually don't have success. Now, I know we just saw the Oklahoma City Thunder do this with mostly a pretty young team, but you don't win a championship until Alex Caruso shows up, who's done that before. Having veteran experience in the room matters.
Yeah.
Because there's somebody who has done things that you haven't done. There's somebody that knows how to navigate, and especially when bringing young players in. This is how you work. This is how you get up. You got to be here every morning. If you want to make it to where I'm at, this is what you need to do. That veteran experience is what's going to make a guy like Modest Buzelis, a guy like Noah Essengay, a guy like heck, even what we seen out of Dalen Terry when he went under DeMar DeRozan's wings, right? Like, when you know how to work, when you wake up every day and you work on your craft in the same manner every day, those are the things that behind the scenes you don't see. And I think having the veterans there makes the biggest difference with that. I'll bet you when we didn't have a ton of vets on this team and it was the Zach LaVine Bulls and Lowry was here and, Zach's the oldest one on the team, like, I'll bet you that's a big reason why we struggled so much because nobody knew how to put the work in. Then you got Jim Boylan teaching them. That's gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like having a vet on the team. Would I like a center that's better than Vooch on this team? Yeah. Like 100%. Give me something on both ends, but I'm not opposed to Vooch being here long term.
Yeah, I mean, you could do a lot worse than Nikola Vucevic. Like I like me, you've had. I think we talked about this in the last episode. People judge Vooch by things that he was never meant to be coming here. He was never meant to be what some people are like. Oh my God, he's not doing that. He never did it. Like he never did it. So it is what it is there. But let's move into the next topic, Pat. We're going to talk about the Windy City Bulls real quick, but first we got to get into this. All right, Pat. So the Windy City Bulls, Yuki Karamora, Lachlan Albrecht are definitely locks to be on that roster. Noah Essengate is probably going to do some time down in the G League. Who do you, if anyone, and you could very well say, hey, I don't care about the G League. I'm not going to care until they get to the NBA. But who to you could make the Windy City Bulls must watch for you next season?
Yuki.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no other reason to watch anybody else. Who's down there? I mean, like, yes, there's players down there that'll be interesting to see if they develop and stuff like that, but it's Yuki. Like, it's insane to see a person our size playing basketball. And he's not even our size. He's smaller than me by a lot.
Yeah. He's shorter than me by a lot. And that says a lot.
What is Yuki? Is he 5'6"?
5'7", I think. Yeah, 5'6", 5'7", something like that.
And they probably giving him a couple inches. Pause. That was crazy.
That's crazy.
It was insane. They got him listed at 5'8". Not a chance.
There's no way. There's
not
no
a
way
chance,
bro. There's no way.
Not a chance, bro.
There's no way in hell.
You are the same size as an Asian Chicago boys.
I'm 5'10". First of all, don't ever disrespect my height.
Nah, man. There's nobody on the Windy City Bulls to me that. I mean, I think that there will be time when Noah Essengate is down there, and so that'll be interesting to watch. But I'm really looking for him on a NBA scale. We've seen him play in a professional league already, so I'm not sitting here losing my mind. I don't care what Javon Freeman Liberty is doing.
He's not even there anymore.
JFL.
He left. He signed overseas.
Oh, that's right.
I think.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, yeah, now I really don't care.
Yeah, literally. It's Noah when he's down there. It's Lachlan and it's Yuki.
And even Lachlan, it's like, I know what Lachlan is. You swapped out Sanogo with Lachlan. He's just tall and he's 10 and 10.
I think he's a lot more. I think he's a lot more agile and active than Sanogo. But
sure, it's still gonna be 10 and 10.
Well, I mean, the output is not. It doesn't make them the same player. It's how you get there. But yeah, I and keep in mind, I wasn't necessarily the highest on Lachlan when we drafted him either. But like seeing him play and the toughness in summer league, I do think him and Yuki are going to be. Yuki's going to be good for Lachlan. He may have more than 10 and 10 just because of Yuki throwing lobs to him, if nothing else.
Possibly. But it's just like, he's like, you could put Lachlan on the Bulls right now. And by the way, in the G League, I'm not saying he'll be 10 to 10. He might be, I forget what Sanogo, wasn't he 25 and like
20 was Sanogo was like 20
Adama
and
Sanogo
11.
was balling down there.
Yeah.
But at an NBA level, Lachlan Albrecht can come up here and be 10 and 10 right now. Just because I'm gonna turn around, I'm gonna grab this rebound, I'm gonna pass it to the point guard. And on the other end, I'm gonna get 5 easy shots. Like I already kind of have an expectation on that, and Billy Donovan will never play him.
Tough bigs, no. What do you mean?
Lachlan Albrecht will get 0 minutes on the
Yuki
Chicago Bulls.
Karamora has a better chance of playing center than Lachlan Albrecht for the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, 100%. Listen, we know that Jerry wants to sell those tickets, baby. Wait, don't let us be off to a bad start, and we need some ticket sales up in here. Jerry will bring up an international player.
Yeah, the fact that Yuki Karamora's actual Bulls jersey was for sale before Noah Essengate says a lot.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, if it get ugly out here, we already got an Australian on the team. They don't need that Australian market. You don't think he'll bring Yuki up? We need to sell these jerseys, baby.
That is hilarious, bro. That is funny. Anything left, Pat, before we get up out of here, brother?
Nah, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer.
Hey, Pat, the Windy City Bulls are having open tryouts on September 13th. You gonna go down there and try out? Brother,
my hamstrings tightened up the second you said that. There's no way I'm getting my butt on a basketball court. The only athletic thing I'm gonna be doing for the next little while or preparing for is this this flag football game that apparently everybody think I'm ducking. I said
I specifically said Pat's the only one who's gonna show up. I don't trust Jordan to show up.
Oh, Jordan to show up.
Bro, Jordan's gonna get distracted by a steak, egg, and cheese sandwich. I don't like
that may happen, but he'll show up eating the steak, egg, and cheese sandwich.
Paris is gonna say he's on his way. It's gonna take him 3 hours to get there. Joel got too many bathrooms to get done. You're gonna be out there playing by yourself.
Well, possibly. I don't know if them mugs showing up. I'll be the only one pulling up for you.
No, Steve was going to show up just for the fact that
can't get out the house.
Oh, C-Dub's not going. No, it's going to be me, Bobby, and Steve-O, bro. And you know what? Kev's going to show up. He's going to play 2 plays and going to be like, I pulled a hammy, and that's it.
Kev and Joel going to have a handshake agreement before the game. Hamstring on 3. Break.
But we're going to thank you guys for tuning in, man. You guys can follow me at CEO Hayes. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, Fubo TV, and more. Basically, anywhere you want us, you can get it. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow, man. Peace, y'all.
Peace.